Also want to offer some thoughts about the Canadian election. In a way, it's a disappointment, isn't it? Pierre Poilievre, a smart guy, well-spoken. This is the guy, I've talked about him a few times. This is the apple eater who has a wry, pungent style of communication. He seems to be what Canada needs, but he's not what Canada wants. And when you look at the election results of last night, Canada goes for the fourth time, four terms, with the Liberals, with the Trudeau party, with Mark Carney, Mark Carney was a lot like Kamala Harris. They just plucked him out of nowhere. He didn't run in any kind of primary. He had sort of the credentials. And this guy is the worst of the worst. I mean, he's a suave character, to be sure. He's got a resume, but that's not the point. He's obsessed with climate change. He wants to get to net zero. He's going to be the ruin of Canada. But hey, look, the Canadians already knew that. They had a virtual clone of his, which is Trudeau. Trudeau ran Canada into the ground. Canada had a horrible experience during COVID. Now, there are some people who are blaming this on Trump. And look, I can see why they do that. The way they're coming at Trump is, I'm talking now about Canadian right-of-center conservatives, is they say, look, this Poilievre guy was ahead in the polls. He would have won if it wasn't for tariffs, if it wasn't for Trump's rhetoric about making Canada the 51st state. This caused the Canadians, the anti-Trump feeling among the Canadians, to coalesce around Carney. And that's really what cost Pierre Poilievre the election. However, I think that this line of reasoning is missing one element, and that is the reaction of Pierre Poilievre to what Trump was saying and doing. Poilievre basically went into a very anti-Trump posture, and he's like, we reject Trump, his behavior is irresponsible. So think about it. What happened really here is that the conservatives in Canada, and there are a lot of them who like Trump, became alienated from Pierre Poilievre because he was bashing Trump. And so ultimately, Poilievre narrowed his own base to the anti-Trump conservatives in Canada. Well, come on. You expect to win an election? So what I'm getting at is, as smart as he is, Poilievre was running a playbook very similar to a Jeb Bush, very similar ultimately to a Paul Ryan. This is a guy who was, in a sense, the conservatism of the past. And we're in a different era. In some ways, Trump's behavior is not totally surprising, because what Trump is saying is look, I want to negotiate with the Canadians. And Trump even slyly admitted that because the Liberals are such wimps, he's like, I might get a better deal out of this guy Carney, because after all, by and large, a Liberal is going to bend more easily than a conservative. So Trump is looking at it from the American point of view.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.